There's the bio, here's the record, here's the woman, Ms. Deborah Harry. You know, there are lots of artists who are successful, but there are very few who have the sort of impact in the relationship with their audience that you have enjoyed. I think for a lot of reasons.
That's because I threaten them.
Is that what you say? I was important, damn it. Is that what you say? When you look back at your bio, you see that, you know, all the changes in your life and who you are. What do you think?
I don't know. I sort of, I'm looking ahead most of the time. I don't really dwell on the past that much. I mean, I sort of count my experiences, you know, as support and learning and just sort of want to carry on. I feel like I'm writing better than I ever did before, and I think I'm enjoying it more, you know, the performances, and, you know, I don't know. I sort of want to keep on going.
You're about to start a new tour as well, and when you go out on the road and you're standing on that stage and you're looking at the audience, are you drawing from past experiences, or is it always a new thing?
Well, I mean, of course, I have a lot of experience performing, so that, you know, is in my favor. You know, practice makes perfect, right?
Practice makes better.
We hope.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some really surprising moments, you know, in performance that I think we all sort of live for. You know, I mean, these are the surprises, and I had one recently where I was on tour with Blondie, and we finished up we had two dates left, and I lost my voice, and that doesn't really happen to me very often, and one show was in Amsterdam and one show was in Copenhagen. And I didn't know what to do because I couldn't cancel the shows, and you know, I sort of, well, what am I going to do? So I made the audience sing.
All the songs?
Yeah, and it was a revelation to me, because all I did was, you know, I just sort of lip synced to the audience, which was you know, I mean, I guess it sort of makes sense because they knew the songs. Probably knew the songs better than I did, but
they remember the lyrics.
I didn't hold it against them.
You think there's guys in that audience who are really pissed off that they came to see Blondie and they saw their drunk friend sing? You know, I don't want to hear you say, call me. I don't want to hear that.
Yes, but, you know, I made a complete fool of myself on stage, so it sort of balanced out.
But that's important to do, though, isn't it? Isn't it important to not be so precious about what one's career is?
Yeah, yeah. I think in a situation like that, you have to sort of just throw it out, you know, and just sort of make everybody, you know, feel good. And so I was just like very slapstick in a way, you know. And it actually was great. I had a great time.
What do you do when you have a new record? You get Necessary Evil. If you lose your voice, they don't know the words yet. What do you do then?
I have big cards.
I wonder, how do you record differently? Do you record differently now than you would have 15 years ago, even 25 years ago?
Yes, it's a lot different now. It's the digital age. You know, we have, you know, you barely have to do anything, really. It's
well, many artists don't. They take full advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah. No, analog was painstakingly slow, and, you know, you had to work very carefully, and editing was crucial, and, you know, all of those things.
Well, do you approach it the same way when you walk in to make a record, like psychologically?
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, you want to do your best performance and your best writing, and, you know, that kind of approach, and I don't know. It's sort of funny because the thing that I hated about recording analog was that it was not like the way the brain works. But digital is really much more like the way the brain works.
Many more layers and all of that.
Yeah, it's just sort of, this I can, you know, I can go. Analog was just so boring for me, you know, because I didn't really have anything to do except for that, you know, whatever hour or two that I would be singing. You know, all the rest of it was done by other people.
The idea of being a solo artist before the Blondie reunion and being a solo artist after the Blondie reunion, is there a difference?
You know, it might be too soon to say. I did the, you know, the True Colors tour with Cyndi Lauper and that whole gang, and that was the first time that I had been out as a solo artist since, you know, the early 90s. And it was a lot of fun. I, you know, had a great time. It was a great tour to be on, you know, was so well received. I guess I'll find out really soon.
When you watch television and you see many young women who are having that moment in their career that you experienced publicly with the success and the coverage, and you watch the meltdowns and you watch the media coverage and you watch all that, can you empathize with them?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a crazy business, right? I mean, I don't know, I guess we all sort of want something else from it. We want some kind of recognition and attention. And I guess it sort of depends on the person, you know, how you want that or how you get that. It's a different world today, I will say that, you know, that media attention is much more ferocious. And
can you imagine if there were camera phones when you were playing at Max's Kansas City and what life would have been like? If every one of your moments were captured like that?
Yeah, I'd be in deep trouble.
When you get to make a solo record now, like, what do you feel like? Does it provide a sort of, I don't know, tangible is the wrong word, but do you get something that you feel out of this going when it's done and you look at it?
Yes, I think so. I think oddly enough, one of the things that was always sort of a criteria for me was that if I felt a little bit embarrassed by a song that I had written, that it was actually good. It was the right feeling for me.
How come?
Because it's true. There's some truth to it, and maybe you don't want to be quite that upfront about, you know, something that you're thinking. You know, usually we're all a little bit masked, you know, with our, you know, we sort of have a little bit of a polite front or a little bit of a barrier between other people. But if you know, do that in writing, you know, I think people can sense that, you know.
I wonder if, you know, when you walk into a venue and you see Deborah Harry's name on the marquee, as opposed to...
Who is she?
Who is that lady? And where did Debbie Harry go? But if you see that versus seeing Blondie, I mean, Blondie is a band that even though you're clearly the face of it, if there's a different nakedness that comes with being Deborah Harry on stage rather than Blondie.
Probably at one time there was, but I don't think so now. You know, I've just done it for so many years that I don't really feel any difference about it. I'll be sort of challenged to do a lot of the material from the old solo albums, you know, having not done it for many years, and some of them I never actually performed live. So I think there's going to be that kind of a feeling for me that it's actually new territory instead of old territory.
When you first hit the scene and people started to pay attention to you, there were a lot of bands that were really exciting. It was this I don't want to call it a movement, but there was just this incredible blanket of music that was out. When you look at music today and you still listen to music, what excites you when you hear other bands and go, this is a band you got to watch out for?
Oh, I don't know. I think I like to hear character, a sense of character. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot. You know, I think, you know, that's the beauty of bands to me, is that, you know, you take 4 or 5 musicians and you put them together and they all have their own style of playing, their own sound, and all of a sudden it is a band, you know, it's a unique sound. And I think that's probably why it's so difficult to keep a band together, you know, because it is such, you know, the individuals are so important. You know, to keep that together and to capture that sound is really quite something. So I don't know. That's sort of what I look for. I look for, again, you know, some kind of a lyrical content that's a personal statement. You know, that's something that's uniquely that person or uniquely from that part of the country or that part of the world. You know,
is there somebody when you hear them on the radio, you go, "That's the one." There's somebody who's embodying that now, or at least as close.
Well, I mean, an obvious example would be the Chili Peppers, you know, and everybody sort of knows what they sound like now. But I mean, they always had that sort of California sound, and, you know, they're...
great songwriters.
Yeah, I mean, they just have their thing. That's their thing, right? And you just say, right, okay, that's the Chili Peppers as soon as they come on, you know.
Cool. Thanks for coming in today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Deborah Harry, I'd shake your hands, but you got a cold, right? That's okay. I'll just tell everybody I got sick of you making out. Necessary Evil is the name of the new record from Deborah Harry. That's why we come on the program, including this.